Hi everybody, how are you doing? How's life? How are you? How have you been? Today's video is going to talk about two types of personas in terms of human interaction and receiving and giving of love. And that's going to be physical touch versus acts of service. And of course, like in most people, yeah, we're going to talk about those two. And of course, human beings are extremely diverse. So most people have a combination of one or two, sometimes three. Some people have, and I think all people generally have a mix of all five. But for this video in particular, we're going to talk about physical touch and acts of service and how, in isolation, they look very different but are actually pretty similar. I've come to find that most times people whose love language is, for instance, acts of service, aren't heavy on the physical touch side, but their ability to welcome physical touch is directly linked to acts of service, right? And this is what I mean. If you're the type of person who's hyper aware of the little things, your appreciation of somebody taking note of the things that make your life easier, that make you feel seen, that make you feel heard and understood, triggers your ability to be more um, receptive and initiative of physical touch. Well, the physical touch side usually is not too isolated either from acts of service, because even if you are heavier on the physical touch side, you'll find that these kind of people, when curated, right, learn. Again, this is for people who are a little bit more socially aware of how to serve people. So it's a very interesting dance, and I think people who have these two traits, if they understand how to utilize them well, can really succeed and have um, successful relationships. That's people who are heavy on physical touch, whose love language is physical touch, and somebody whose love language is acts of service. Because to be a person whose love language is physical touch and you're aware, right? Because some people are really not aware. So this video, like most of my videos, is not a total assumption of a particular topic. It's a sect of it. And I think you really can't have a general discussion about anything, because everything is really so nuanced and there's so many factors that play into having an idea or a thought process or an understanding of something. So when I speak about something, that's why you find I really put these perimeters in place so that we mutually understand or try to understand what it is I'm talking about, right? So to be a person whose love language is physical touch, you are hyper aware of the little things as well. So body language, tonation, eye contact, phrasing and whatnot. Because for you to be able to physically put yourself in proximity to another person, you have to be safe. You have to feel safe about it. So these people tend to be hyper aware of the little things, similar to acts of service. You are able to read into situations, into people. Sometimes you can even pick up on somebody's shift in aura because they are that aware of people's presence, for you to be able to be in their space, to be appreciated and to be loved in the way that you need to receive it, to feel that you're loved, right? And so whether it's a hug, whether it's hand holding, whether it's a cuddle, whatever it may be, you have to be aware of your environment to either initiate or reciprocate said actions. And that's why it works so well with acts of service, because these kind of people are also hyper aware of the little things. These are people who notice that you drink 2 bottles of water instead of one. The people who realize that when you move from this place to this place, this is what you do, because they know how it feels to receive that and they want to receive that. They tend to be very attentive people. So in a place where both these love type of reception is present, and they're aware, and they've worked on themselves, and they're emotionally intelligent, it works. Whether it's friendship, whether it's family, whether it's partnership, like romantic partnership, it works. Because and both of them can be actually really happy, because most of the times people who have the acts of service type of way of receiving love may not be the biggest on initiation or physical touch, but they are very receptive to it, because they know how to appreciate being seen. And so you'll find once they get comfortable, they are actually very capable of even initiating it as time goes on, right? So yeah, that's just like a thought. It's not even like a collected thing. It's just a thought that crossed my mind of, wow, that's a pretty interesting linear connection to the two. So bye.